All right, this is section 3.1D, graph and write equations for lines given the point and a slope. And we sort of started doing this in the IXLs, but I'm going to show you another way today. In this example, it shows you a line that you started at 0.23, and then you used a slope of 1. So when you go to write the equation, you got to find where it crosses the y-axis to get your b, which is 1, and then they gave you the slope of 1 here, and you put that in for m. All right, so let's look at number 1. On your paper, I believe this says -1, so I'm going to plot my first point. It says graph the line that passes through the point -1, 5, and has a slope of 2. So I'm going to go -1 up 5. That's my starting point. Now from there, I'm going to use my slope as my road map. Up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Let's do some on the other side. Down to left 1. Try to be as straight as possible. You guys can use your rulers. Okay, so now this is the pieces that we need. They gave us the slope, so we're going to plug that in for it was 2. Now if we look at this line, it crosses right here, crosses the y-axis right there at 7, so your y-intercept is 7. Let's do another couple of these. Number 2 says graph the line that passes through the point 4, 1 and has a slope of -1/2. So we're going to graph 4, 1, and we're going to follow the road map to be -1, +2. And we're going to go the opposite way. +1, -2, +1, -2. We're going to keep going until we grasp the line. And we're going to draw this with our straight edge. Okay, so it tells us the slope is -1/2, so we have our m. And to find our b, we find the place that it crosses the y-axis, which is +2. Number 3, graph the line that passes through the point -6, 2 and has a slope of 1/3. So we're going to go -6, +2, and our road map, our slope is 1/3, up 1 over 3. Down 1, left 3. Whoops. The more points you have, the easier it is to draw the line. Okay, so our m is our slope of 1/3, which was given to us. Don't forget to put that x back in. And our y-intercept, the line intersects the y-axis at 4. All right, onward. So how did you use the graph to write the equation? Well, what you use the graph for is to find the y-intercept. So the place the line crossed the y-axis is your y-intercept. It's the b. Would it always be practical to graph this way to find an equation? If you're looking for the equation, can we always do this? It's not always going to work, as you can see on one of the IXL modules, because sometimes the y-intercept isn't an exact value. It's not a whole number. It is an exact value, but not a whole number, maybe fractional. And you're just estimating. All right, let's go to number 7, because I'm going to jump right into showing you how to do this without the graph. Okay? So you don't have graphs on your paper, but I'm going to show you a picture of the graph. So you have this formula, right? This is our go-to. Let's see what pieces we have. We have the m, but we're missing the b. But we also have the point. if we plug in these coordinates and solve for b, then we have the y-intercept. Let me show you. I'm going to put in -6 for y and -1 for m. I got those from the point. Then I'm going to solve for b. So I have -6 equals -4 plus b. I'm going to add 4. So I have b equals -2. So now I found my y-intercept by using the coordinates. So here's my new equation. Y equals 4x minus 2. Okay, so now if I graphed it, you guys don't have yours, so you don't have to graph it. But now you have your equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, so let's look at number 8. So here is what we're shooting for. We're given that piece, -2/3. Now we need the b in order to have a complete equation. So I'm going to use these coordinates. Remember, it's x, y. I'm going to plug in the 4 for y and the 3 for x. I'm going to cancel here. So I have 4 equals 2 plus b. When I subtract 2 from each side, b is 2. So now I'm going to plug that in. Y equals -2/3 x plus 2. All right, so we're not going to graph this one. We're going to use the way I showed you. So we're going to plug in. Here's what we need, all the pieces we need. We're going to plug in 3/2 for the m. Now we're going to take the coordinates and plug them in for x and y. So y is -1 equals 3/2 times 4 plus b. We're going to cancel. 2 becomes 1, and 2 goes into 2 once and into 4 twice. So I have -1 equals 6 plus b. When I subtract 6 from both sides, I have b equals -7. So now I can put all the pieces together to get my equation. All right, so let's do number 10 together. Here's what we're shooting for. And I'm actually going to plug the 1 in so we can do the math. So I have 1x plus b. I'm going to put in the 2 for the y, the 3 for the x. So I have 2 equals 3 plus b. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So b is -1. So my equation is y equals x minus 1. Undefined. So we know that an undefined slope is a vertical line. So it's going to go through the x. So I use the x coordinate, and I have x equals 3. This one, so if you graph that, it's like this. So this one is a 0 slope, and it's going to go through the y at -4. So my equation is y equals -4. All right, let's do number 13. Find, fix, and justify. Philippe was asked to write an equation of the line that has a slope of 1/3 and passes through the point 6, 4. Philippe made a common error and wrote the equation y equals 1/3 x plus 4. What did he do wrong? Well, what he did wrong is he just plugged in the y coordinates for the y-intercept. Those are not the same thing. So what he needs to do is he needs to plug in what we got for slope and use the coordinates and plug them in and solve for our new y-intercept. So 3 goes into 3 once and into 6 2 times. I'm going to subtract 2. My new b is 2. His equation should be y equals 1/3 x plus 2. So just because that's the y coordinate does not mean it's the y-intercept. You have to plug your coordinates from your ordered pair into the equation. Okay, I'm looking for number 14. All right, let's write the equation here. So we have a point. Let's find that point. Let's find the coordinates. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's my point. Now let's find the slope. I have 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2. So you got to find those two pieces because look at our y-intercept. It's some fractional thing here. This is when using this formula comes into play. You're just guessing if you're looking at the line. So let's plug in. So I have y equals 3/2 x plus b. I'm going to plug my coordinates in. 5 equals 3/2 times 3 over 1 plus b. So 5 equals 9/2 plus b. Let's make this into a decimal. So 9/2 is 4.5. You subtract 4.5. I'm left with a half. So I'm going to make this in a fraction. So my equation is y equals 3/2 x. There's my slope plus a half. These are rough. Lots of fractions. Use your calculator. All right, the next one. Let's see what we're given. We're given this point, 1, 1. Okay, now we need to find the slope. So I have down 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4. So my slope is negative 1/4. Hopefully you have enough room. Let's plug this in. So I have y equals negative 1/4 x plus b. So I'm going to plug those things in. So I have 1 equals negative, it's 1/4. Times 1 plus b. If I add a fourth to both sides, I get b is 1 1/4. If I make that improper, it's 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5, so that's 5/4. So my equation is y equals negative 1/4 x plus 5/4. All right, we are going to stop here, and then there'll be a second part to this.